Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter. It is episode 104. It is brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook. And guys, we're talking about something that a new MLB rule is kind of eradicating. You know, there's a lot of pitch clock rules this year, there are bigger bases, and there's also a limitation on pickoff attempts for pitchers. You know, stolen bases are going to be back in a big way, which I'm really excited about. Hell, if you use all your pickoff attempts, the runner on first can just take off whenever they want, and there's nothing the pitcher can really do about it. You might be for it, you might be against it, but I thought today we could highlight the most egregious examples of pitchers just throwing over as much as they want. What is the most amount of pickoff attempts in a single at-bat in MLB history? Let's turn the clock back first to 1986, a fun year for all my Mets fans out there. Let's talk about Chris Welsh, the hometown Cincinnati kid, pitching in front of the hometown crowd and getting booed in his first MLB start because in a single at-bat with Vince Coleman out there on first base trying to steal a base, Chris Welsh threw over 17 times in a single at-bat, and fans were getting so fed up that they booed him basically off the mound. Also, to add insult to injury, Vince Coleman stole the base anyway, so it wasn't even worth it at the end for Chris Welsh. He's now a Reds broadcaster. Things turned out okay for him, but that is pretty hilarious. A really funny thing to do in your first MLB game ever. Come on, man. All right, if that reference is too old for you, why don't we go back to last year? Alek Manoah, a very polarizing figure. Jays pitcher, beloved by many, and a very talented guy on the mound. Also kind of a notorious slow worker, so we'll see how that works out with the pitch clock this year. He had a hit by pitch against Brett Phillips, so that put him on first base. And to make sure he stayed at first base, he threw over 7 times in a row to Vlad Guerrero Jr. Add in those slow working mechanics of his, and this was a pretty long at-bat. Let's keep it somewhat recent, but go back 10 years. Kansas City Royals legend Bruce Chen, who had a sneaky long MLB career. Good for Bruce. He was getting battered around by the Minnesota Twins on this day in 2012, April 29th. He didn't even last 2 innings, but he made sure that he stayed on the mound pretty long, even though his workload wasn't that much, because he threw over 10 times in one at-bat, trying to keep Denard Span at first base with Jamie Carroll at the plate. 2 Twins legends, 2 Trevor Plouffe teammates, if I'm not mistaken. In the end, Span didn't even try to steal the base, so this was just a waste of everybody's time, but at least Bruce Chen got his throws in with Eric Hosmer. You gotta love that. And according to MLB TV, Bruce Chen threw his first pickoff attempt at 19 minutes and 57 seconds, and the next pitch wouldn't be thrown until 24 minutes and 50 seconds. That's when the at-bat concluded, a 5-minute at-bat, which really was only 5 pitches. It's just a bunch of pickoff attempts in the middle of it for no reason. How about this one for a recent one? Sergio Romo, who just retired as a San Francisco Giant in a very touching ceremony. He was beloved by the fans on that night. He was not beloved by the fans on this day 3 years ago in 2019. In a Twins-White Sox game, Romo entered a tied game in the 8th inning. Yolmer Sanchez was on first base. Kind of a stolen base threat, but not really a guy I'd label as a speedster. But just to be sure, Romo proceeded to throw over 11 times in a single at-bat. Overall, it took 10 minutes for him to throw 11 pitches to finish off the inning. That's not even including a mound visit and him having to step off to regroup. This was just a long, long day at the office for 1 inning of Sergio Romo pitching. Keeping it in that same year, let's talk about the Subway Series. Jason Vargas, lefty on the mound. He liked to hold his runners pretty close. Even a guy that didn't steal a lot of bases like DJ LeMahieu, who had only 4 stolen bases on the year to that point. But just to be sure, Jason Vargas threw over 10 times in a single at-bat, with LeMahieu not even really straying that far off the base in the first place. And then this one we're going to stretch out beyond an at-bat into a full inning. Anibal Sanchez once had 18 pickoff attempts, including 5 in a row, with Freddie Freeman on first base. Now, I love Freddie. I think he's a great ball player, but I'm not going to have him stealing bases in any important game. But apparently Anibal Sanchez thought he was a threat. Those were the best actual baseball examples that we can find, but there's also a fun one with MLB The Show. Now, we have a lot of people playing MLB The Show in the office right now, so you should go over to JM Gaming and check out them playing. But apparently, there's a really annoying CPU pickoff glitch or something where there can be as many as 6 in a row when playing MLB The Show, even with these new rules. So if you're playing in an MLB The Show online game, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Nobody wants to see that, and you know what? They're probably going to run anyway. Also, interesting tidbit here, in the 2020 season, the average rate of pickoff throwovers was actually more so than any other relative season around it, probably because there was no fans in the stands to boo pitchers who were taking too long to throw their next pitch, and it returned to regularity come the 2021 season. So maybe Chris Welsh, back in 1986, getting booed in front of his hometown crowd, he might have liked the empty ballpark to throw over as many times as he wanted to. And I have no idea if there's any prop bets to bet on number of pickoff attempts. It wouldn't be a thing anymore with the new rules, but if there were to be a place to find it, it would be the DraftKings Sportsbook, the sponsor of today's episode. Right now, the DraftKings Sportsbook is offering $150 in bonus bets for any pregame moneyline wager of $5 or more for new customers. Bet $5 on a pregame moneyline bet, and if that cashes, you get all that bonus bet money right in your pocket. Use that bonus bet money, flip it into some same-game parlays, combine multiple bets from the same game, like which team will be scoring first, which team will win at the end, and you have a shot at an even bigger payout at the end of the day. And if mobile sports betting isn't available yet in your state, there's also DraftKings Daily Fantasy, so you can get in on the action regardless of where you live. Download their free and easy-to-use app now. Use code STATS, bet $5 on any pregame moneyline wager, and if that bet cashes, you'll get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's the DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details, and any resources for a gambling addiction you might need are listed down below. Thank you guys for watching today's episode of Stats That Exist But Do Not Matter, and hopefully we get more stolen bases out of this silly new rule. Whether you're for it or whether you're against it, speedsters are now going to have a field day because they don't have to worry about 17 pickoff attempts in a row. Are you kidding me? 17? Come on.